What's going on, Fast Turn Radio watchers, listeners, replay catchers, gompers? What's up? We got John the T-Rex in the crowd tonight, so appreciate him being here, along with so many others. Jim Stewart, yeah, there's gompers. Diane, Carol, Raphael. Guys, thank you so much for taking out an hour of your night and being here. Oh, man. Look at me, just my computer is not acting right. So hopefully the technical glitches are done. I'm going to stop clicking on stuff and just leave it all as is because I just accidentally went full screen and it messed everything up. So hope you guys are doing well. I have literally been sitting in this chair for the better part of the last, I'm going to say about 11 hours, just doing bookkeeping. I got to do some tweaks, but I finally have everything caught up. I was 8 months behind. I had not done bookkeeping since September of last year. Yes, I kind of, check my numbers and all that kind of stuff, but actually in the books, knowing what's going on, no. Some surprising things, some things that I kind of figured that's what was going on was actually the case. So I will share some of that with you guys and some of my general findings. Whatever you want to talk about tonight, it's pretty wide open because my mind has been on nothing but getting these stinking books done. So it's not like I got a lot of show prep. And, I did spend a little time in some of the Facebook groups today, just kind of looking around. It was rather interesting. I'm going to bring up a couple of questions that I saw that were cool. But for the most part, I have been keeping to myself. I have wanted to get this done. So no spending, no shopping, no sourcing, no online anything. I mean, it's just been straight up, got to get this done on a mission. And man, it's finally coming to an end after hours and hours and hours. So, all right. Gumper says, cool, just had someone in Texas apply for a credit card in my name. What a great day. Gompers, congratulations. You got your identity stolen. That's awesome. That just gives you warm fuzzies. And that's nothing against credit card companies. That is just somebody trying to steal your identity. One of the few things I've done is set up identity theft insurance just because if something does happen, I don't want to deal with the junk that goes on after the fact. So I pay, I don't know, I think $150 a month for that. Yeah, gotta love Capital One Fraud Department calling me to verify. Yeah, there you go. One Gompers is definitely enough. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the ID theft monitoring. Like I said, insurance, any of that kind of stuff that you can get, because it's definitely rampant. I mean, it's out of control. I've had my debit card stolen several times, and going through these books, I don't know if it's a debit card situation where somebody actually has my debit card number, but I had 2 service charges that I found, one for 1 penny and one for 36 cents. And I talked to the bank and they didn't seem too upset about it. They're like, hey, if you want, if you want to close that card and open a new card, then you can. And I said, well, it happened twice for 37 cents over the course of several months, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. Now that I have my books in order and I can stay on top of stuff, I'm actually kind of excited for the new month coming up because I can tackle that. And the things that I've seen in the business, that some of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the trends, and I'm really interested to see how May kind of balances some of that stuff out. So let me explain that. Through the bookkeeping, through doing sorry, the kids are still running around. It's summertime here. Kids are off, so they get to stay up later than usual. And so if you hear them in the background, sorry, it's just life. But anyway, back to the bookkeeping stuff. One thing I've definitely noticed is, surprise, surprise, the more you spend, the more you sell, the more you profit you make, kinda. And, so your sales climb, your spending climbs, your profit should be going up in line with that. But something strange happened. Or not really strange. It's a timing thing. Okay. So I did a lot of spending right at the end of April. And so my April spending looks just huge, and it threw my numbers all out of whack. Took what, if you guys remember, I told you when I broke down my actual sales, that was the month that we did roughly 70,000 in sales in April. I broke down the profit on those actual sales, right? Pulled the report, broke it all out. It came out to about $14,000 profit on that 70,000 in sales, item for item. What that leaves out totally. So, people say, oh, you post your numbers, but you don't post your profits. Okay. Well, I broke out those profits. There's another problem. And Harvey Specter, who I stole his stuff last week, and I told you guys, made a much better post than what I'm about to say about this. But he wrote it out, and he was absolutely correct. He's like, even if you say what your profit is, all right, so I'm telling you, in April, $14,000 profit on the $70,000 of stuff that we sold. I bought tens of thousands of dollars worth of inventory that doesn't factor into any of those numbers anywhere. And we actually ended up upside down just for the month of April because I spent so much at the end, got a bunch of inventory. Now the inventory numbers shot through the roof, right? I mean, we went over $100,000 in ending inventory cost of goods. That was our money sitting in inventory, either at or on its way to Amazon. That's the stuff that we bought. So I'm truly interested to see what happens in May after we did all that buying at the end of April that is not on the books and that ends up just kind of in no man's land. But then we had a huge selling month, huge sales month in May with very little spending. I've spent almost no money in the second half of May. I think I've spent truly $0. And it's been, May 12th, I think. We talked about it last week. I think May 12th was the last time I bought any inventory at all. I've been on a total spending freeze. So that's a solid 3 weeks of no spending. So all that inventory and all that spending that we did in April, guess what? That's what we were selling in May. And just to give you guys some more numbers, we started January with about $30,000 our cost in inventory. Then we went up to 36, then up to 56, up to 66, and ended April with 103,000. Okay, so we spent a ton of money. That's where these sales come from. I tell you all this stuff to give you some idea of when you see people posting the kind of numbers that they do, whether it's $10,000 a month, or it's 100,000, or it's 200,000, or the big guys are running in the millions a month. There's a lot of back inventory. There's a lot of spending. There's a lot of buildup that doesn't factor into any of those numbers. And that's where you guys got to get. That's where I needed to and am striving to grasp is exactly what's going on in this business. So I hope that makes sense. It's not a chest thumping thing. That's not a rah-rah. I don't know. Hey, maybe look at me and go, you fool, look how much money you lost. Yeah, because we ended up upside down in April. May, we did much better. That's my feeling. I will report back to you guys in a couple of weeks once the statements go through. Once everything's settled, I'll be able to run the main numbers and give you guys a better idea. Excuse me. All right. Hey, Mindy's here. What's up, Mindy? Justin Wills says, cash flow negative but high profits when looking at cost of goods. That seems normal and just means you are spending the money on inventory to grow the business. Yeah, and that's true, Justin. And one of the things that I need to break down further, and my eyes, I can't even hardly see straight right now. But one thing that I want to break down further is just kind of how it all correlates as far as how much stuff sold versus what's there in those percentages, kind of like a turnover rate. And maybe you guys can help me. The best way I know to do a turnover rate is not I've tried doing the daily tracking, like I have this much inventory and this many items sold, and Harvey's the one that first told me about that. One, I don't do a good job of checking it. Two, it doesn't seem very accurate because when you're sending stuff to Amazon, it shows as part of your inventory, even though it's not there. And if it's not there, how can it sell? And if you're buying a lot of extremely fast selling stuff, it's going to throw your numbers off. But what I think I can do is pull these inventory levels and see how much I sold. Like, for example, I will give you April's numbers. We had, starting in April, we had $66,000 worth of inventory. That's where we ended March. That's what was there on April 1st. So then I go out and spent $71,000, which seems absolutely ludicrous. But I spent $71,000 on more inventory in the month of April. So that gave us a total of about $137,000 to play around with. That was our total inventory, and we ended up with a little right around $103,000. So I think I can use that data, and maybe some of you number crunchers, like I said, could help me out with that, help the group out with that. But you know, we only sold, well, we bought $71,000 worth of stuff, and our total sales were $70,000. We only sold $33,000. We only sold half of what I bought, and that doesn't even include what I carried over. So a lot of cleaning out took place in May, and I'll be very interested to see where the profits go. All right, so Justin says, and then this is in response to that. Oh, okay, cool. He says, if you now, Amazon has apparently a tool for that. He says, go to inventory planning, then look in the upper right-hand corner, and it will show you your turn rate, how often your inventory turns within a 12-month period. I'll check that out. I've never seen it. So that sounds kind of neat. I'll see what my report says. You know, one problem that I think there's going to be right off the top with that is I don't carry the same inventory all year round. So we'll see what those numbers show. But you know, I love holidays. I love seasonal selling. That's the word I'm looking for. I love seasonal selling. Now it bites me in the butt when I guess wrong, and I'm recalling a bunch of stuff from that I got wrong in February. So some Valentine's Day's stuff is coming back, but I got a lot of it right too. Which, you know, did I get enough right? Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers, and yes, we got enough right to offset what we got wrong. And that's kind of where I'm thinking May is going to shake out too, but we'll have to wait and see. So I don't know how they would determine your turnover rate if you're selling all kinds of different stuff throughout the year, but maybe I'm just not quite understanding. I will definitely take a look, and I appreciate that. So speaking of turn rates, there were a couple of questions that came up that I thought were kind of cool. One was from Daniel Metters in the Wholesale Formula Group, and the other one was from Andy Slamans, and I don't honestly remember what group it was in where I saw it on. I don't know if it was Scan Tower or where, but okay, let's go with Dan's question first. What Dan asked, and let me actually bring it up, because I'm kind of curious what your guys' response are, and I'll give you my response for any of those, and for anyone that didn't see it when it was posted. If I can find it very quickly, that would be good. Because I thought it was an excellent question. I think it lends itself to a lot of what people, how people see this business. All right, so here it is. Dan Metters, question of the day. What is the most important aspect of a good purchase? A good purchase, because a good purchase would have all these, but what is the most important aspect of a good purchase? Is it ROI, profit, actual profit dollars, turn rate, and whether or not it's replenishable, or is there something else, and which one? Now, Mindy, who I think is still in here with us, he made the first comment and is dead on, which is there is no one. There's a sliding scale based on all of those factors. Yes, you need all that stuff. I mean, if you don't have fast turning, some fast turning, highly profitable, some replenishable, if you don't have a mix of all that kind of stuff, if you're not paying attention to your ROI, yeah, your business is going to be in trouble. So I am going to take, just have it be a given that you guys know what you're doing with your businesses. And so, the question was, which one is the most important? And I'm curious to know, and then there's Mindy, what you guys think is most important. Because to me, I looked at that and I said, there's a lot of different ways to run this business. I mean, from the booksellers who have very slow turning but extremely profitable items. And when you get enough slow turning items, you start to crank out great sales just because it's accuracy by volume. I mean, you throw enough stuff out there, you're going to get that money back. So you could go with that sort of model. You could go with the other extreme, which is kind of what I talk about, what I teach people, what I've talked about and learned myself over the last 3 years, which is fast turns, which is, at its what it boils down to, and at the heart of fast turns is simply being able to take your money, buy profitable, decent ROI, and that's, everybody has to decide for themselves what a decent ROI is. But you need profitable, good ROI, fast turning items so that you can sell those products, get your money back, reinvest, do it over and over and over, and grow your business. So it looks great on paper. Now, there are some hiccups to that, and we'll talk about that a little more when we get to Andy's question. But for me, replenishables are great, but they're getting harder and harder to find. Now, I know Robin Johnson has talked about, she has like lists of replens, and if she does, I assume she really does, it's incredible. Because when I started out, I was totally about replens. I said, man, this is where business has got to be. You need that stuff that you can buy over and over and over and know it's going to sell. Problem is, I wasn't sourcing in a way that prevented others from finding the same thing, right? I was doing the easy stuff. I was going to Walmart and I was scanning vitamins, and I was scanning home goods and grocery, and the same thing that anybody else could scan. Well, lo and behold, as the months and years went on, more people came into this business, more people did those same sort of scans, more people scanning, more people doing this. The more supply that comes into the marketplace, the lower the prices go. And I have just found that I have very few replens. Where I used to have a business that was basically all replens, I have almost none now. At the same time, I used to have a business that was selling $10,000 a month. I now have a business that's selling 100 was the extreme. And thank you. I saw somebody that said congratulations, and thank you to everybody who said congratulations. That was probably a one-time deal or close to it outside of Q4. Q4 should be pretty awesome. But, now I do consistently sell $50,000, $60,000 a month. Sometimes we bump up to 70 or higher. But, so it's easy to say, yeah, I have a business totally built on replens. Well, yeah, you can do that. If you're selling a few $1,000s a month, you probably can still do that. I don't know. It's just not where I'm focusing my attention. But for me to grow to where I wanted to and to keep growing, I had to shift what I was doing. So I don't see replens, back to Dan's question, I don't see replens as a big necessity. ROI, I think, is a necessity. It is more necessary to have a higher ROI when you're first starting. That's my opinion. I think the bigger you get, the more, this is the big key. The more capital you have, the less important ROI becomes. I'll give you an example of somebody who would probably disagree with me, and that is David Hawkins, because he's killing it. He's selling over 100,000 a month, and his margins are ridiculous. That dude's a monster. So you can have both. It's possible to have both. But I don't focus too much on ROI. Now, profit, I do like. I like seeing the actual profit number. And I talked about this in the past, $25 product that profits after everything's all said and done, $5, you clear $5 on it. Would you buy that product? And, then it kind of becomes, well, if you're looking only at ROI, you go, $25 making $5, that's only 20% return. That's not very good. But if you're looking at actual profit, you go, yeah, it's $5. That's cool. Now, I think there's another part that plays into it when you have that low ROI. And I think the big key to in all those parts is how fast does it turn? I will take very tiny margins if I know I can sell a crap load of something. If it only makes $5, but I can sell 20, 50, 100 a day, absolutely I'm going to do it. If I can afford it, if I have the cash flow for it, I'm going to jump all over it. If I didn't have the cash flow, then obviously I can't do that. And there are some things that some other people, some other sellers that I know, they're all over it. And I'm like, I can't play in that swimming pool. I'm just a little fish. I don't have the cash flow to keep up with any smaller margins than about that 25 on 5. That's about the extent of how far I can go with it. But it sells a ton a day. The more I looked at it, I thought, another aspect of this is you never know what's going to happen next. You don't know what 2 weeks looks like, 2 months looks like. You definitely don't know what 6 months looks like. So yeah, give me the fast turning inventory that if things go badly, and it's almost a matter of when, depending on the product, unless you have some kind of special deal, unless you have a PL product. I mean, if you're sourcing something that other sellers can get and it's readily available to them, be well aware that once you start selling that, and it may be profitable in the beginning, as other sellers find it, and they will, the price is going to come down because the supply is going to go up. More sellers, if it's got great profit margins, and it's not the race to the bottom that everyone talks about. It's really just a matter of when supply outpaces demand and you are too deep in a product. To me, that's when sellers go, man, I got to jump ship. And it's not really a race. It's just, hey, I got tied up. I got too deep and I got caught with my pants down. I need to get out of this thing. And then if people fight, a lot of them fight at the same time to get out. That's when you end up having problems. But to me, if you have fast turning inventory, you get in there early, you make that money early. And then when the masses do start to come in, if there's a high demand for it, you can dump that product and move on to the next. And that's take that for what it's worth. I would much rather have that situation than something I have 100 of, okay? Because I'm talking about things that sell 20, 50 a day versus something I have 100 of that sells, I don't know, maybe one a day. So that's a 3-month supply. Now, if it only sells one a day and I'm the only seller, I'm selling one a day and I'm happy selling one a day, all of a sudden somebody else comes in. Well, now I'm not selling one a day. We are selling one a day. So I just went from having a 3-month supply to a 6-month supply. That is not very attractive at all to me. And now if a third or a fourth person comes in, I'm looking at a year's supply because of those 100 units. That to me is just too risky. And Travis used that word. He said, seems like it all comes down to how much risk you are willing to take. Definitely. This business, guys, we're entrepreneurs. We are risk takers. And if you're not, please do not do this job. Do not do this. Don't participate in this business. It is not for everybody. If you can't tolerate risk, you are going to get swallowed up. And I am generally risk adverse, but at the same time, I do have the entrepreneur bug. So I'm not saying if you can't take any risk whatsoever, yeah, you're kind of in trouble. But if you're smart about it, you pick your spots where you're going to take those risks, then yeah, I think you're just fine. But it definitely all comes down to risk. That's it. That to me is the fast turns kind of prevents. Fast turns are great for the risk adverse because at any point you can go, I'm getting rid of my stuff. I'm getting my money out. I'm going to go buy differently next time. I'm going to go buy this over here, that over there. I don't care what category you pick. There's winners. And people ask me, what category is best for fast turns? Well, every category has a top 100. So every category has great products. I don't care if you get the top 100 in baby, which you guys know I'm not a big fan of baby, but if I got a top 100 in baby, I'm just fine with that. It's going to fly. Mindy says shoes. There you go. I thought, yeah, shoes are on everybody's list right now. Seems like everybody under the sun is selling shoes. I think I sold 55 pair last month. So I don't sell a lot of shoes. I sell 1 or 2 a day. I'm good with that. Right now, I don't think I'm going to go any deeper, but who knows? If I can watch, suddenly every post on Facebook seems to be about shoes, and shoes still hold their value. If they can ride that out, unlike grocery did, unlike most toys do, if shoes can survive the masses, that would be awesome. I'm not completely sold on that, and it depends again, how much risk are you willing to take? How much inventory? How deep are you going to go? All that kind of stuff. I mean, whether it's shoes or baby or toys or home, it all comes down to what you're gonna. It all comes down to how you run your business as to what's acceptable for you. Because man, there's high profit items in every category. There's fast turns in every category. For a short time, there are a lot of fast turns that are highly profitable. That doesn't seem to last long, though. All right. Let's see. Gumper said, I so dislike selling shoes. Mindy can have my buy box all day long. And Mindy says, I've ordered 2 pallets of one style. Yeah. So there you go. And those are 2 sellers that I respect. I know they both know their business as well. I know they are both smart guys. It just comes down to how do you want to do things. And so let me go to Andy's question now. So anyway, back to just to finish on Dan's. So when Dan said, what's the most important? I think they're all important. To me personally, it comes down to fast turns, though. Hopefully I explained that well enough that it made sense. All right, so on to Andy's question. Andy set up a scenario. He said, if you spend $4,000 on a product and you get 100 units, would you rather sell those immediately and make, I'm sorry, the buy cost was $8,000. That's where it went wrong. Buy cost is $8,000 and you get 100 units. So they're $80 a unit, I guess. Would you sell those immediately and make $4,000, or would you sell them more slowly over 6 months and make $8,000? Now, we are going to keep that in a vacuum. All right. It was Andy's question, so I can't give you any more details, but in a vacuum, just what would your preference be? I'm a fast turn guy, right? Fast turn, it's what I do. I'm going to take that money now because I don't like the prospects of what might happen 2 months, 6 months, whatever down the road. Now, Andy replied to me and he said, no, it's guaranteed money. 6 months from now, you're going to get $8,000. I didn't go any further into it, but if he guarantees it, basically his thought was, can you be patient enough to make more money? That's what it comes down to. Now, your budget may play into that. If you've only got $10,000, you cannot afford to wait 6 months. Your family will starve by the time it happens. Now, Mindy hits on the one that got people kind of heated. And this was hilarious to me because the sellers that get it really get it. And the sellers that didn't, it was funny to watch. And he says, no, turn the money again. All right. And this is it. And he's right. That is a very reasonable thing to say is, no, I'm going to sell the $8,000 my cost. I'm going to take the $4,000 profit. Now I've got $12,000 to go invest in something else. Makes perfect sense. So Travis, you actually, I'll get yours. Well, Travis says, why not sell enough to get your cost out, then profit the rest? That's another scenario. That's not bad either. And I thought about that too, but then you're looking under that scenario, and I'd have to run the numbers, but I'm assuming that the sell-through would be somewhere in the 3 to 4 month range. I mean, I guess it depends what immediate is. Andy didn't really say immediate was tomorrow or if it was a month or what, but back to Mindy's point of turn that money again. That sounds good, but in a vacuum, it's perfect, but it's not necessarily realistic because some people were going, oh yeah, I could triple that money in 6 months. If you gave me that money, I could triple it and turn it over and over and over. And I'd have whatever, 20,000, I think it comes out to $20,000 at the end of that same 6 months or 30,000. I don't know. In a perfect world, that's true. But man, if anyone in this chat room is telling me, yeah, okay, so Mindy has the numbers. This is what he says in a 6-month period. If you were to, get a, 50% return based on a 1-month term. You go from 8,000 to 12,000 to 18, 27, 40,000, 60,000. Is that 90? Yeah. Okay. You top out at $60,000 versus 16,000, right? The problem is, one, anyone in this room that tells me they don't make bad buys, I don't believe you. First, just period. Nobody makes perfect buys. So if you're in a vacuum and you're saying, oh no, I'm going to turn this every month and it's going to be great, no way. And Curtis Battendorf had the perfect response. He said, if you're trying to turn $1,000 or $5,000, that is a whole lot different than trying to turn $50,000 or $100,000. It is a lot easier to turn a few $1,000s over and over and over. You give me the right products, I can turn several $1,000s a day, right? But I'm not going to be able to turn tens. And Mindy brought this up in another discussion. Totally didn't plan on talking about this one, but he said, if somebody gave you a $5,000 or $500,000 cash infusion into your business and said, I want you to go do RA, could you spend $500,000? I couldn't. There's no way. All right. Same thing with kind of what we're talking about with Andy's scenario. Could you spend that $8,000 that becomes 12 over and over and over every month? I don't believe it. I really do not believe that you could spend that much money without, one, making mistakes, two, taking lower profits. I don't know. There's probably a third something, but basically it's not going to work out that well. If it did, then yeah, that sounds great. You just turn that money over and over and life is great. It doesn't happen that way. And to watch the brand new sellers that said, oh, I could do that, no problem. Really? Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried? Because if you have and you tell me it's no problem, I'm telling you, you're not being honest. And then you see the experienced sellers like Curtis that said, yeah, that works on a small scale, but when you get to a bigger scale, it's no longer feasible. So anyway, I thought those were very interesting conversations, so I wanted to bring them up with you guys. Justin says, I detailed my numbers in the comments on that with real numbers, and I'd take the slow 8,000. All right, Justin, I'm curious then. You said you ran the numbers. I have not taken the time to run the numbers because I've been crunching those numbers that are up on the other screen all day. What does that actually kind of play out to? And I don't know. See, it is so, God, this business is so freaking difficult to just to nail down. Because going back to my example of April on the books looks like a disaster, but it also set up what's going to happen in May. So how do you say, this is how much I make on my money each and every time? Because my products are changing constantly. There are times where I make the $5 on 25 and I sell 50 in a day. There are the times that I spend $30, sell for 130. Those would be the shoe type stuff that I sell 2 or 3 a day. Man, I'd have to average all that stuff out. I'm getting there. I'm going to have a firm grasp on this stuff at some point. I do believe. All right, let's see what Justin. First quarter numbers, 166 in sales, 12,000 in returns, cost of goods 62,000, gross profit was 91,000. So that means the business is earning 1.46 in gross profits for every $1 invested. Now the question becomes how fast the inventory turns. My current inventory turns at 10.9 times per 12 months. So let's go really conservative and say it will take 60 days to turn over the inventory. First 60 days, all right, 4,000 times 1.46 comes out to $5,800. 58 times 1.46 comes out to $8,500. Last 60 days would be 8,500 times the 1.46, and that comes out to $12,000. So basically, the 4K could turn into $12,000 over the next 6 months if all else stays equal. Or I could take the $8,000 over 6 months with 0 extra work And honestly, it's tough. It's a tough choice. The 4,000 option resulted in more money, but a lot more work. Can I find enough quality inventory that will sell in the same margins as I already have? Maybe not. It's a great question, and the answer depends entirely on your situation. Wow. Justin Wills just got the gold star of the day for breaking down sales numbers. That is awesome. I wish I could tell you guys that I know my numbers that well, and I do not. That is freaking fantastic. That, dude, awesome. Gomper's great SAT question. Yeah, and that's how you answer it in essay form with mathematics. That was fantastic, man. Well done. Might have to get with you here in a little bit and figure out exactly how to break down my numbers at that point. But plus, Andy said you'd get the 8,000 paid out evenly over 6 months, so you get paid every 2 weeks and can actually still flip the money. Makes the answer even easier. All right. So some things to think about. I appreciate you adding that in there because, dude, that you just blew my mind with that. That was awesome. Very well done. Very well laid out. Some things to think about as we get into. I am going to push you guys, and if nobody shows up anymore, so be it. But I am going to push. I'm going to make it my mission to get you guys to know your numbers to the point where you can bust out stuff just like that. And that's what I'm working towards. And it's been a long struggle. I'm getting there. But that's where we all need to be. You really have to understand when you make a buy, the risks that are involved. You need to know how it turned out. You need to see how your inventory is growing. I had no idea that at the end of April, I had $100,000 in cost in inventory. That is insane to me. Oh, Andy Slamans is here. Dude, I was just talking about you. I don't know if you were in the chat room already. I think you just joined us. But yeah, you need to get to the point where you can give hard numbers like that. You should be able to say, this is what the sales look like. And I mean, I'm getting close, but really I've been focused on data entry. So yeah, that was freaking impressive, man. I'm still blown away. So, but that's where we all need to be. If you don't know your business that well, you don't know your business well enough. So work on it. That's oh yeah, Andy just got here. Congrats on the 100K. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That was pretty awesome. I mean, it doesn't mean a lot. I understand that from a material standpoint of profits and all that. But let me tell you, there's a psychological breakthrough or achievement in that. And that's what I tried to lay. That's what I tried to lay out in that post. It wasn't anything about rah, look what I did. Hopefully you understood the two reasons that I made that post. Not three. All right, I'll be honest. I was celebrating. What was a milestone for me. I was very excited about that. So yes, that part of me wanted to share. The more important meaning behind it, because that does you guys no good at all. One, I wanted you to see, I wanted to say thank you. Sorry, to the young guns, to Matt and Todd specifically, who were at that conference, and to Andy Slamans, who introduced them and didn't introduce them. I guess he talked about them from the stage, but he said, here's these new sellers and they're doing 70,000 and they're talking about doing 100,000. I was just like, people don't, and I put it in the post, regular sellers, the mom and pops of this world, we don't sell $70,000, $80,000 a month, $100,000 a month outside of Q4. That's nuts. I mean, hey, 2 years ago, the top sellers in our Facebook community sold $100,000 in December. And it was just like, wow, these are the top dogs. Can't believe it's even possible. That, that has been so shattered in the last 2 years. And that's why I try to explain to people that haven't sold in a while how much the game has changed. And it's not that Amazon has changed the rules, but the landscape has changed. So out of that conference, hearing that these young, who turned out, that's kind of where the young guns came from, because these young guys, who are these guys that act like they can sell $100,000 in a month? That's ridiculous. They don't know what they're doing. They'll figure it out. They'll learn what I already know. All right. So there I was just, that's kind of where I was sitting. That was in the back of my mind. I would never say that to anyone. I wouldn't discourage them. Well, thank goodness I did it, because what I figured out was I was the idiot sitting there going, that's not possible. No, I was totally small-minded, closed-minded. I thought I was smarter than them. I thought I knew more. I've been around longer. I was a speaker at that conference. They were attendees, right? That kind of, man, no, fool. And I had the privilege of sitting across from them for what turned out to be a 4-hour dinner. Yeah, it was horrible. And I didn't pick their brains. I didn't, how foolish. What a wasted opportunity that was. And, I fly across the country with those guys now, literally. And it's awesome. And I cherish the time that we can just kind of hang out in a hotel room and shoot the breeze. And sometimes it's about business. Sometimes it's about food. Matt and Todd are big boys. They like to talk about food a lot. But, here I wasted an opportunity because I just thought they didn't know what they were talking about. I'm here to tell you guys, you ever get that kind of mentality, you better kick your own butt. You better wake up and realize that you're being a snob. You're being a know-it-all. You're being I won't say it because someone might be listening. But you know what? It just doesn't swing that low. So man up and realize you can learn from anybody. Get over yourself. It was ridiculous for the attitude that I have. And I kick myself now. So Andy said jack donkey. Yeah, don't be a jack donkey. Don't be a jack monkey. Don't be a jack anything. Just take the opportunity to know that these guys that didn't come in with the blinders and the preconceived notions that I did things that were unreal. And now they're and so first it was to say thank you to them. Secondly, to teach you guys the lesson that I learned the hard way, which was I was closed-minded. So do not be closed-minded. Learn from people. Yeah, even the new sellers. They can teach you stuff. I promise. I learn from new sellers all the time. It's not daily, but there are things that come up. Like Justin, I believe, is a newer seller and just blew me away right here in front of all you guys. Why wouldn't I take the opportunity to learn from him if that opportunity presented itself? It's just, anyway. Andy, let's see. Oh, man, I just had the thought in my head and it just flew out. It was something else, follow up to Andy's deal. Man, now I can't think of it. All right, I'm going to go back to some of the questions. Maybe it'll come to me. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I'm just going back through. Sorry. Yeah, Andy said, congratulations. Hard work. Awesome hard work. Now you can afford FeedVisor. No, I can't afford FeedVisor. Yeah, glad you guys could celebrate with me. Thank you, Linda. And Andy said you've grown the right way. I hope so. I don't know if he posted that before my little rant telling you guys what a jack monkey I was or not, but I learned a good lesson there. And Justin says, come on, Dwayne, celebrate the victories and the wins. You will hit some goals and milestones. Don't let the hitters get to you. As entrepreneurs, we don't really get positive recognition because we have no boss. Enjoy it when you hit a goal. Yeah, and that's exactly. It was a 3-part thing. It was celebration. It was hopefully a little bit of a lesson, and it was a whole lot of a thank you, because those guys are incredible, and there's no way it would have happened without them. Just absolutely no way. Yeah, and Andy said, love how you've grown your business slow and steady. That I have done. It has been very slow. And now these guys are like, people come on the scene and bam, they're coming in with a ton of money and putting up huge numbers right away. It is insane. And no, I am not going to pour a shot on camera. Yeah, learn from everyone. Learn from everyone, somewhat to do and from somewhat not to do. That's true too. And sky's the limit. And he says you need a bigger corkboard behind you. What you got over the hump? Wholesale, retail? That's a little bit of both, really. That's some wholesale, some retail, bad buys. That's really, other than the Manning collectible. He's the one up in front right there. That one I'm hanging on to. I have him, and then I have a special edition Andrew Luck, which I thought might be worth something someday, but apparently not, because I don't even think you could give it away on Amazon right now. So, Um, man, Andy, there was something else I was going to follow up with that has come to my mind 3 times during this whole thing, talking about you and your question, your $8,000 question. And now that I have the opportunity to talk about that, whatever that other segment was, it's totally left my mind. And man, that just stinks because that was going to be kind of my closing deal, and it's just gone. All right. I know it's early. I am getting old. And man, it was something. See, I don't want to just sit him and haw and waste everybody's time. But dude, it was something about your question that was kind of a spin-off. Wasn't the fast turns or the profit. It was kind of unrelated, but at the same time, not completely. And I should have written it down because it is just gone. Andy, what's up, man? I was looking around and lost my own thoughts.
The way when I saw that 100K, it just blows me away. Like what? So can you tell us, and if you want to, like, what were your months leading up to that?
Yeah, I can give you my months. I can pull them up, but yeah, I don't want to give you any misinformation. Let's see.
Was it pretty slow and steady? I mean, could you see the climb? Did you know, like, man, I'm going to hit this?
I knew in April when I stumbled across a few things. I said, and I was spending all that money. I know you weren't here for the early part, but I spent $71,000 in April. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So
that's awesome.
I didn't realize I'd spent quite that much, but when you're spending, and when you're spending at that level and you're seeing the stuff sell through as fast as it's selling through, this is gonna happen. I mean, I was I started in May with like $4,000 and $5,000 days. Right? And there was one day, which I know this doesn't sound like a big deal to most people, but I actually was the top seller out of the Young Guns group, the 6 of us. So, Matt, Harvey, Goose, Todd.
That's awesome.
Now, that's the only day it's ever happened, I think. Actually, I won for the day at like, I don't know, 6,000 maybe. I don't know. They had some days. So.
How about Matt? Like, Matt's putting up like $11,000 days. Oh, like, yeah. It's like common.
Dude, I think he did 12,000 yesterday. It's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah, he well, I don't want to talk about his numbers specifically, I guess.
Yeah.
Place to do it, but yeah, man.
Smart.
Well, I'm a year removed from that conference, which is awesome. I'm glad you brought that up at the conference, about the 100K challenge. But while a year later I'm just now getting to that level, yeah, those guys are like, wait, that is a bad month to Matt at this point. If he sells 100,000, he's going to be disappointed. I promise. And Todd and Harvey and Goose, those guys all hit it without a problem.
So now maybe you covered this earlier, but are things starting to open up for you? Like, are you just seeing like bigger and more opportunities, or how's it working?
Yeah, a lot of it is. There are some things where I'm just hitting the hot stuff of the day and still go out RA, clear the shelves, that sort of stuff. But what I've been able to do in my business in general is buying months ahead of time. And it has taken me a long time to get there. But I was buying Valentine's as soon as Q4 ended. The suppliers had the Valentine stuff that I wanted. I started when that got shipped in, like the 1st of April, I was like, okay, we need to get on to Easter because it's here. So I got into like the seasonal selling.
So smart.
Yeah, as soon as Easter got done, all right, we got Mother's Day coming up. And in the meantime, let's get some of the summer stock. And that's a lot of what was selling in last month too. And I'm running out of some of that, unfortunately.
Now, question: do you have people that work for you?
No, I've got 2 part-time packers.
Okay, so my question to you is: when are you going to have to bring on somebody to manage your account?
I don't know. It's no time soon.
Really? So you're saying like you like the way you're going? Say you amp it up to like $200,000 a month, you can still do that by yourself.
If I were to go to 200, maybe not. Oh, thank you. That's what I wanted to talk about. But okay, hang on. Let me just write it down. Now I'll remember to get back to it. Okay. if I want,
because my question, like I'm facing right now, like I'm almost to the point I need someone else to help me manage my account. I have Packers, but like I'm missing things or I'm missing opportunity because I'm, dealing with customer service, like with returns or that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So my question to you is like, what, when are you going to start looking at that?
I guess the way I would answer that is actually with a question, which is, do you want to be that big? Now, you obviously do. I don't know that I want to sell 200,000 a month because I know what it takes.
Yeah, but dude, you're close. You're halfway there.
100,000. The leap from 100,000 to 200,000 is not the same as 20,000 to 30,000. All right. I mean, this is not.
I mean, look at Harvey though. Harvey's almost there, right?
Yeah, he's had to pull some unique stuff. I mean, he's essentially got a fulfillment center all to himself.
Okay.
That place in business. It's
right.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, literally by himself, he is their only client.
Yeah.
So, but he has a team of sourcers, people shopping for him.
Okay.
All, but it's, him and his brother, and I think he's got one other person maybe. So yeah, Harvey's able to hit those kind of numbers doing his stuff.
Okay.
I guess what it comes down to is can I still have the lifestyle that I want and hit those kind of numbers? And I don't know. I mean, I never honestly thought I would be able to do 100,000 without a warehouse and, multiple packers and shoppers. I mean, I always thought if you hit 100,000, you got to have all this stuff in place. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at now. Maybe I should take some advice from earlier and not get so caught up in my own perceived limitations. But
so the reason why I asked that, because I don't know if this is doable or not, but like I do want to get to the point where I can pay somebody $50,000 or $60,000 a year to manage my Amazon business, and then basically all I have to do is either give them connections, places to buy product, or like new private label connections. However, but he's managing my, how like I'm sure you do too. I go into my account 3 or 4 times a day. You know what I mean? Because you got to check the feedback, and it's just time. And can we get to that point where we're paying someone $50,000 a year to do that?
No, I think you definitely can. If you're going to build out a team like Sam has, then yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got VAs that are.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't want a team. I just want one guy. I just want one person.
If you had the right person, there is a person. There is a person right now that if I said I can pay you $70,000 a year, I would trust her wholeheartedly to run everything I got going on. She'd probably do it better than I do. I'm just not sure what I would do then. Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm not at a point where it's like, hey, I'm going to pay you $70,000 while I go lock down some $2 million client.
Right. I
mean, shoot, if I'm paying her, that's kind of the crap that I'm doing right now. That's how I spend my day. Part of it. I sure hate to have somebody come in and run my account while I just sit in the kitchen drinking beer. That's not right.
Yeah, well, you're not going to do that. You're going to find other opportunities.
But yeah, definitely. You could. I think you could do that. I know you could, because I'm telling you, if I had the business set up that way, my problem is I'm not sure that I just hit 100,000. I will not hit 100,000 in June. I assure you.
Right.
I'm not buying in 3 weeks. I know you weren't here for the first part of the show, but I've been on a total spending freeze because I need to get my books in order. And I just wanted to focus on that. I didn't want people here working and packing. I didn't want to worry about new invoices coming in and all that crap. I just needed to get it all straight.
Yep.
So there's no way, because I just simply don't have enough inventory to hit 100,000 in June.
Right.
I've sold like $1,000 today, where I told you I started out May selling 4,000 to 5,000. So, but if I were able to scale kind of in the way that you're doing with PL products and researching new products and bringing those online, and maybe I could do it more with the wholesale stuff that I do. If I had that time to source wholesale and make those connections while somebody was running the business, it's possible. I guess I just feel like,
because I guess I'm getting a little bored of managing my Amazon account. Like that doesn't excite me anymore, you know? But I'm also nervous because I feel like I'm the only one that can do it right.
No, you're sitting in a room full of people that can do it right. You know,
Right.
None of us knew what we were doing when we started. So it would be up to you and how well you could teach somebody and how much you trust them. I mean, obviously, you have full trust in whoever you hire. And, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about it because you posed the question. And my first thought was, well, I'd have to have a warehouse to hit 200,000. And I don't think I want that right now. But the fact is, I have access to plenty of prep centers. They have warehouses. So all I really have to do is order the stuff and send it to them. And it's going to cost me 50 cents or $1 per item in my cost. So, in that respect, Amazon has changed a lot. The Amazon landscape has changed a lot. And I think it would be feasible, as I sit here and think through it, if I were to utilize prep centers and buy in bulk, lock down some accounts where I could get wholesale with extremely fast turning stuff, kind of like Dan and Eric do.
Yep.
I think you could hit 200,000. And yes, to answer your question, definitely you could hire somebody.
Okay.
But to play off of that, and this is what was bugging me and I couldn't think of earlier. Can I do it? Can you do it? Probably. But again, do I want to? I have met 2 people in the last month. One is somebody who sold years ago and they're getting back at it. And the other one is somebody who's just trying to replace their income. They recently lost their job. They're trying to replace their income. Their profit goals are 2,000 for one person and 3,000 for the other person. Like if I can just make at the end of the day,
awesome.
Everything done, if I can make $2,000 or $3,000 a month, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's great.
So, I personally want to make more than that. We spend a lot of money. My family has fun.
But that's what's great about Amazon, right? You can choose.
Definitely. Yeah. But that's because and what made me think of you in this is you said it, and I talked about you a lot just a little bit ago, when you said, everyone makes it sound so easy and everybody wants to flip it, but it's not that easy. And I didn't get to the part where you said, I'll give you $8,000. You give me 9,000, 6 months from now?
Right.
Everyone says how easy it is. Go make it happen. I don't know if anybody took you up on that offer or not. But
no.
Then you said, why aren't we all selling $1 million a year? If it's that easy to multiply your income, if it's, and I think Mindy ran through the numbers for us, what the multiplication 50% ROI monthly looks like. It looks great on paper. But when you factor in the bad buys, when you factor in the returns, whatever goes into it, whatever hiccups along the way, just finding enough product to spend $50,000 or $60,000 a month on is not easy.
Nope.
I spent $70,000 last month. That was not easy. I won't be spending $70,000 this month because those same things that I was buying are not going to be good. I see the trends. I know what's going on.
Right.
But so one part of the answer to your question, why doesn't everyone sell $1 million, is it's not easy.
Right.
I promise you. And that new guy that keeps popping up with, I'm going to sell 250,000 in a month. Come on, dude. You're selling $2,000 a month right now, and you're getting 250 by the end of the year.
And I've always appreciated you because you've always been authentic and vulnerable in sharing your numbers. And part of my question was I was trying to poke because I do feel like people are clueless. They, because that question will be asked in different ways, and people jump on it right away. Like, no, I would just flip it. You can turn that money so easy. And I'm like, what the frick? I must be doing something wrong because I don't turn money that easy. If I can double my money in 6 months, I'm taking that all day.
Yeah, no, see, the reason I wouldn't, I told you this, was it would scare me to think of how much can change inside.
Oh, right. I take that variable out though. Yeah. And I bet you would take that 8K over 6 months.
I'd have to think seriously.
And I'm saying, like, if you could put it in a bank and get it 4,000 immediately, or get 8,000, 6 months later, you're going to take the 8.
I probably would. I've got enough sitting around that I'm not going to miss $8,000. Yeah.
All I know is, Dwayne, you know this too. The majority of people don't know their numbers.
No, and I'm guilty of it. That's what I don't know. If, you probably haven't caught my show in a while, and I don't blame you. But it's been all about how much I've screwed up my bookkeeping. I was 8 months behind, man.
It's hard.
8 months behind, and I just today, like at 7:45 tonight, I finally got my cost of goods entered for April. I mean, I am this close to caught up. I just got to clean up some little mistakes in the bookkeeping.
It is hard. It's a full-time job to keep track of your numbers.
Yeah, and to see Justin bust out the numbers the way he did was incredible.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
All
right, hey, I'm going to hop off. I'll let you get back to your show. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, how much I've appreciated your encouragement since I first started selling. So.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. And,
yep.
Yeah. All right, Andy. Take it easy. Welcome on anytime.
All right.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Andy is one of the greatest speakers of all time. So if you have a chance to listen to him speak at a conference, he's awesome. If you have a chance to buy him a beer, do it. He's just a great guy to be around. Great speaker, brings a tear to your eye. He's just awesome. That's all I can say. So thanks for being on, Andy. But just to finish up that thought, yeah, why doesn't everyone sell $1 million a year? One, it's not easy. Two, not everyone wants to do it. Those that say it's easy, they just don't have a clue. Don't listen to them. I got caught up in a back and forth on Facebook with a new seller that I probably should have just stayed out of it. But man, it just irritated me because I know how hard this business is, and I know how hard it is to put up those numbers. And for people just to act like, it's no big deal. I'll make it happen. It irritated me. It struck a nerve. All right. Throw it back to the first Scam Power conference when I met you and Andy. Cool seeing the dialogue. Oh, Justin, you were there? Man, see, I meet people and then I don't remember them, and that's a problem. So I'm sorry, Justin. I didn't know that I'd met you at the first Scam Power conference. That is very cool. Oh, you're the guy that owns the gym. Okay, I do remember you. All right, I know Justin now. That's awesome. Yeah, you own like a 24-hour fitness or something. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. See, you got to tell me that. You got to tie it to something. Yeah, you were brand new back then. You've come a long way very quickly, sir. Very impressed. And Mindy says 1 million is easy. It's the first 999,000 that is hard. Yes, sir. All right. I have rambled on for an hour now, which I appreciate you guys hanging out. Got 26 people that listened live. Hopefully we're going to have several dozen more. I think we usually get 200 to 300 YouTube views and about 50 that listen on the audio. Guys, if you want the links to show up live, the best place to get it is I post in Fast Turn Radio on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/groups/Fast Turn Radio. Post a link. Usually I try to get it up, a couple hours ahead of time, but that's about the most I can really give you. So if you guys on YouTube want to actually get the links to watch live, I would love to have you here. And it's like Andy just popped on, you're welcome to pop on if what you have adds to the conversation. Please, by all means, I would love to have you on. So, all right. And Mindy said, thanks, Dwayne. You got me through my first treadmill in years. Way to go, dude. That is awesome. Good job, Mindy. That is not easy to, it's not easy to start an exercise program, but it is definitely worth it. Travis, thanks for being here. Everybody else that joined us live, again, I say it all the time, but I do mean it. I very much appreciate you guys being here live, because without you guys, there would be no show. I can't do it just based on people watching the replay. I'd be bored to tears. So I need the back and forth with the audience. So thank you guys. All right. Gompers is out. Everybody's out. Pat on the back. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you guys all for being here. There will not be a show next week. I plan on being back in 2 weeks. If for some reason I am not, I will let you know ahead of time in the Facebook group, but plan on being back. What's today? The 1st. So the June 15th should be the next show. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.